Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak the Vibe. Today, we are reacting to Knox Hill and the Kendrick Lamar Apple Music interview. So let's vibe to this video. Guys, go ahead and check him out. I think he's so dope. He's really do a great job when it comes to breaking down lyrics in regards to rap songs. So I really like his channel. So go ahead and check him out. So let's get started.
Especially after this lawsuit, this record is getting played and promoted everywhere. This is the new theme song of the Super Bowl.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Wow.
You know, Kendrick, it's a little bit surreal to actually see you in the flesh because you've always made it a point of just letting the music speak for yourself, which is something I really respect. But the spotlight has been shining so brightly on you for the past few months. I've just been wondering how you've been processing behind the scenes, how you've been feeling about everything happening, all the success.
It's just really just
Look at him, y'all. Oh my God. I love Kendrick Lamar so much. Just look at him. Ain't he fine?
like it's just a continuum of who I am. Really, I've always stayed to myself. I've always been in my own bubble, whether it's with the fam or whether it's training. How I process it all is just I continue to do what I was doing 10 years ago, and that's like be better in myself, better.
I can actually agree to what he's just said, because being fairly new to Kendrick Lamar discography, I've watched countless and countless of videos and interviews of him, and I can see he have not changed his whole image, his demeanor, and what he represents and what he speaks about, his calmness, the tone of his voice, everything is he's still the same person, and he have not changed. So I really appreciate that as an artist. And he also, his music is, what he speaks about really hit home with me. So let's continue.
You know,
You'll being the artist to hit.
Again, I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to check out his performance, his Super Bowl performance of Kendrick Lamar's back in 2022 in LA, when Dr. Dre was in Snoop Dogg and the whole LA theme going on. So if y'all haven't checked that out, y'all should check it out, because I really love his performance. I thought he did a great job. Everybody did, actually. I love that halftime show. So I know he's going to kill it this time around. Oh, I can't wait. So I love all his answers so far. So let's go ahead and continue to watch this.
Just your thoughts on what that means about hip hop's progression and impact over the years.
Love
that
that.
shit. It made me think about like the grind of it. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't see like the story before the glory, man. That shit's like
Bar.
shuffling out your mixtapes and going to neighborhoods and parties and performing there, hole in the wall spots. It reminds me of the essence and the core response of rap and hip hop and how far it can go. So for me, that should mean everything, because it puts the culture on the forefront where it needs to be, and not minimized to just a catchy song or verse. This is a true art form. So to represent it on this type of stage, it's like everything that I've worked for and everything that I believe in as far
You
as
deserve
culture,
it.
I live and die by it. This shit done changed my whole family life, so I don't take it for granted at all as far as an art form.
That's powerful. And it's so funny because that manifested itself via the beef, didn't it? And him and how he looks at it. Like, he's like, I'm not focused on a catchy hook. I'm not focused on making a hit record. If a hit comes out of it, that's amazing. Like, that's not first and foremost. The priority is the art form. The priority is the culture and furthering that. And again, we saw how all that played out in that dynamic, and some of his greater critique of Drake and Drake's catalog and how Drake approaches the art form versus Kendrick's. And I think we've dissected and we've discussed this throughout.
It feels like that was a lot what this year was about too, right? Like you
Thank you,
I
Abraham.
guess, you took it and put it on your back, and you felt like a line needed to be drawn, right? Was that your intent when you rolled out this year? Was like, yo, I'm drawing a line. Like, this is what it is.
My intent was to always keep, I think from day one was to always keep the nature of it as a sport. I don't care how motherfuckers look at it as far as like,
And that's one thing Drake don't understand is because he's not keeping it. It's just a sport. Stop with all the shenanigans, all the posts online, all the memes, all the antics. Just stop. Put it on the record and move on. That's what Kendrick has been doing. And I love the way he's been moving so far.
like I still watch battle raps. I still watch Smack URL from Murder Mook to Lux to Tay Rock, my bro Daylight. This has always been the core definition.
Bro, can we get that Loaded Lux and Daylight battle, please?
Of who I am, and it's been that way since day one. So I don't think it was a thing for this year. It was always just a continuum. And what I will say about this year, it was more from a space where I think a lot of people was putting rap to the back, and you didn't see that. You didn't see that grit. You didn't see that bite anymore. So I always took that in consideration in going into any.
So true.
That's interesting. So,
and that's why I had fell out of love with hip hop before, because of the nonsense. It wasn't about rap anymore. It was just a whole bunch of stupidness. And I'm glad he's trying to put rap back at the forefront, how it should be.
I have, like, one of my favorite quotes from him is he said, hip hop and rap is a contact sport. And it is. And I think it's that competition that sharpens pens, right? That keeps you on your game. That competitive spirit can lead to innovation, right? And always staying on your toes and keeping MCs hungry. And it's that hunger that you get. And so many artists through the years have talked about this, have talked about the competitive sport of rap, especially going into battles. Even Eminem's referenced it in the past, and you just see again, like, Kendrick understands that, right? And he's from that mold, and he's from that mind frame, and he exudes that throughout.
So I always took that in consideration
Love that
going
answer.
into any type of my music.
that's interesting. So, I hope this makes sense, right? We've been following your journey for about 15 years, and you have been so consistent in the messaging and the focus, like you said. And you've always moved with integrity. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we thought we knew exactly who you were as an artist in a positive way. And then last year, it felt like you unlocked a whole new dimension for us. But that person, like you said, was always in there. But I'm wondering, do you still surprise yourself sometimes?
I don't know if I necessarily agree.
Did you always want to?
Yes, from Kendrick, but at the same time, the writing was on the wall. Like, Kendrick has always been on that time and that energy and that competitive nature, and it doesn't matter who's in his way. He's always ready for war. And the writing was on the wall with the Control verse days. Go back to Control. Look at Control. Like, that was the tone that was set from him back then, all those years ago. Go even further back. Go to the freestyles. When he's, like, calling out anyone and everyone. He's calling out all the big names. Called out Lil Wayne. Called out Eminem. Called out Jay. Like, we did a breakdown of one of his freestyles. Like, I feel like Kendrick has always been on that time and that energy. He just needed the opportunity to just pop out and let the boogeyman come through again.
Did you surprise yourself last year, or was it just stunned?
That's a good question. Surprised myself? Nah, I don't think I surprised myself, because this for me and for my partners that's been around me since 2005, 2006, like my brothers, they know my personality, they know my capabilities, even when it wasn't presented to the public at first, right? So this is just like a revolving door of what I've been doing in Carson Studios, at the homie garage, or my brothers at TDE, or just anybody around the city of Compton in LA. It's just magnified to the level where I've progressed it and did enough hours to know, okay, I know where to place it now. I know how to make it connect with people.
I think you used a great word in the earlier question, continuum. Because that's what it is for me. It's his authenticity, but he's always stayed true to his value and to his roots. right? And like I said, you see that in his past music, and that for me has never changed. Has he changed? Obviously, we all change. We all go through different life experiences and tragedies, and different moments shape us and shape our lives. But I feel like at the root and at the core of who Kendrick Lamar has always been as an MC, that's always been evident.
It feels like each album, too, getting to this point was like, it was an album for the culture, and it was an album for the critics. You know what I mean? And then it was for the critics, and then GN.
Kendrick Lamar is always about culture. He speaks about culture. He breathes it. He lives it. Everything he does surrounds culture. So that's why I love when he brings up culture, because we feel him, we see it.
Anybody, everybody, and anybody who wanted at any time.
Yeah.
And you brought that energy, and the energy you brought on GNX.
I like that
energy that I don't think was really happening in hip hop. Like, it's a Public Enemy level energy. It's a Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted energy.
Sure.
Like, it's a classic, timeless energy. Talk about your headspace between Mr. Morale and this GNX.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I love Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers album. If y'all haven't listened to that album, oh my God, I don't know, his it hit me on such a personal level. People give that album a lot of bad reviews, I guess, but I love that album. So I don't know what people are talking about.
My
question.
cousins was like DJ Quick, and
Hey, shout out to
Dre,
Quick.
these folks that my people was playing. So I always had that DNA. And you heard that DNA a little bit on Good Kid, Mad City, but I wanted to tell my story first, right?
Bar.
And fast forward to GNX, I felt it was just a perfect time because not only the energy was lost, but it was an energy that was bubbling inside of me as well. I wanted to go back to the forefront of just the bite and just the grit of rap, just all raps and hard ass beats. And that's like the basics for me. I thought about, what I used to like when I was a kid. Hard raps, good beats, that's smacking, right? And it was a great transition from Mr. Morale because that was my most intimate. I wanted to go inside of my own psyche and my own personal withdrawals and see how it connects with the public and who can relate. So during this time around, I think it was necessary of coming out of that cocoon and feeling like, okay, I arrived now. I can spread my wings and show every state of who I am as far as Kendrick Lamar.
And you really did
I love that. I think Mr. Morale, obviously, some people love it, some people don't like it as much. They critique it. I loved it, right? And this is another reminder of me. I got to get that live stream cleared. Like, I think, 2 lives that I did over 5.5 hours of breaking it down. But I think without Mr. Morale, you can't arrive at GNX. I think Mr. Morale was a huge stepping stone. And I think he had to go through those personal demons and those personal battles and face that and face himself in the mirror. And just like, he was so vulnerable on that. And he touched on so many important psychological issues and impacts and things. But like, because he went through that journey, he was then ready for war. He was then ready to give you this warrior monk that is Kendrick now, right? That is so composed, that understands who he is, that understands his own humanity, his own flaws, his own weaknesses, but his own strengths as well. And he knows how to stand firm in his beliefs, and he's not afraid of anyone, right? And he's here to push the art form and the culture forward. What a hell of an answer from him, man.
your wings. I mean, you
Loving some of these questions.
just came off a huge 5 awards, and you Not Like Us won for Song and Record of the Year, which in itself is remarkable. But I think for people who love and respect hip hop and the roots of the
Yeah, because you get so many ghostwriters that get to go on stage for Song of the Year, right? You just get to see everyone who contributes to the track. But obviously, MCs, we write our own shit, unless you give Quentin Miller a call.
culture, the competitive spirit of it, it has been a little bit mind-bending that you created this massive cultural award-winning anthem out of a battle rap song. And
Facts.
how is that something, after you got off that Grammy stage, you got home in some quiet time? What was going through your head?
I was just thinking about the culture, really. It's always that for me first. I'm not even.
You see, it's always about culture for him. Always.
When people talk about rap, man, the conversations I hear, they think it's just rap and it's not an actual art form. So when you put records like that at the forefront, it reminds people that this in 50 years ago, they forget that it's even been here 50 years, right? And like kind of like belittle it. So
Great skin.
just as big as an art form and a genre as any other genre. So that's what I think about. And I feel accomplished being able to do that. You know, whether somebody else come behind me and do it again and quadruple it, I love to see it. If that was my purpose to do that, then that's exactly what it was for that particular moment.
I think, but that's a huge statement for me, especially at the end there, because again, that shows that he's not bigger than the culture, right? He sees himself as a part of it and a connector, furthering it, connecting to the history of it, shouting out the history, but also hopefully paving the way for its future. Man, there's some really thoughtful answers.
People often miss the significance of that Record and Song of the Year award, because that Song of the Year award is a songwriter's award.
Facts.
Like, it's not just the biggest song. It's like someone
Bro, we're on the same page
with
today.
a song. And you as a songwriter, when you see your name up there and it's written by Kendrick, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And I think to what you're saying, I think there's a lot of people who have become fans of hip hop.
So true.
And they, you know, you like the songs you hear and know, but you're not actually tapped into the work that it takes for you to generate the output, the art.
Exactly, man. As a writer, you know, and that's what I can appreciate the most. And knowing how much time I dedicated over the years in just trial and error, writing the most terrible shit to the.
I love his writing abilities. He's such a wonderful writer.
How much time I dedicated over the years in just trial and error, writing the most terrible shit to some of the greatest shit. You know, we all do it, from writer's block to figuring out how to find inspiration from the most non-popular aspects around me. So it's like, knowing that trial and knowing what I put in as far as my thinking process and what it takes to get there, I do not look at it as a small like endeavor because it's a hit record. No, it's actually some writing in that shit. You know, whether it connect with you on a spiritual level, whether it connect.
It's even got storytelling towards the end. I mean,
on a comedic level, whether it connect with you just on a personal dynamic. It's still from a writer's point of view.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that last verse is a great example from that record of how Kendrick can set it up in sort of a storytelling perspective. He has a thought. He knows where he's getting to, and he has a great way of connecting it and leading you there and letting really that final punchline and that final delivery and that final point and theme sink home, man. Like, again, how many people have run away with that colonizer line, but how he got there and how he just put together and crafted that verse is just a great example. Like, you know, he makes it look easy, but that's because he's one of the best at what he does. And he's been doing it for so many years.
You are an incredible writer. There are songs on GNX like Reincarnated. I didn't know what to do with that song for the first few times I heard of it, just trying to figure out where.
One of my favorite breakdowns to this day that we've done on this channel. That Reincarnated.
Love that song.
Watch it.
Possibly came up with the inspiration for a record like that. Like, when you work.
That record, Reincarnated, really show his brilliance of a beautiful writer that he is. Just perfection.
Versions until the right thing comes to you, it's hard to fathom, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, records like that. First off, shout out to Tupac. That's number one. That was always one of my favorite.
Hell of a
records
track too.
From him and Outlaws.
Bro, that sample made me get up.
With records like that, it's always going into my mind of like, what if, right? And crafting out my what if ideas to the masses. So when I think about concepts and I think about what I actually believe and what I feel, I just go through a breakdown as if I'm reading a book, you know, and how I want people to hear this from a book sequence. So my initial process is, okay, how can I open them up to the story, and how can I drive them to the ending point to make them feel truly exactly what I'm trying to convey, whether they take their own perspective from it or they take mine. I just want you to feel it first. You know, the writing is there.
Another thing I love about Kendrick is the way his songs make me feel. Like, I actually feel what he puts out. I feel it. And I love that, because if I'm hearing a record, I want to hear what you're talking about, what you're trying to express, what you want the people, what message you want people to take out of that song. And Kendrick's songs does that for me. He's one of the few that does that for me. Mr. Morale album, Mother I Sober record, dude, when I tell you, you can't tell me nothing. I cry on that record because it touched me. You know, songs like Reincarnated, Men at the Garden, Heart Part 6. Oh my God. Brilliance.
Yo, wow. That might be my favorite answer so far. I'm loving this. But like, I've talked about this. Like, he is a great author. He is. He's a poet. He's an author. Because we've broken down enough of his storytelling tracks. He has an amazing storytelling ability amongst his other skill sets. But I love how he approaches it like a book. All right, I got a plot. I got a climax. I've got a conclusion. How do I get the audience there? And how do I tell it? And how do I frame it and set it up? And his verses lay out like a good story does. And it's amazing to hear him say and talk about his process, because that's how he views it. And that just makes perfect sense. I've even stopped in these breakdowns and have mentioned that and said that. That's incredible.
You know,
and he used the word breakdown. Come on.
And it's there. Now it's up to me to perform it to where you can feel it.
Yo, give it up for this guy, Kendrick Lamar. Y'all too quiet, man. This guy, this guy he doesn't sit down and do this too often.
He don't.
It's a very special conversation. We appreciate you, bro. I really do. And shout to SZA too, because you guys are making history right now. And you've seen her from her humble beginnings, like she's seen you from your humble beginnings. You've watched her find success, and now y'all sharing the stage at the Super Bowl. This humongous tour that's rolling out next year. Talk about this moment in both of y'all's career. Have you guys had a chance to even see each other in this moment and be like, yo, like...
We haven't even had a chance to crash out about it, because everything has been moving fast, like far as production, rehearsals and stuff. So we speak, but we haven't really got a chance to settle into the moment. For me personally, watching her, her career and where she's come from, it's amazing to see. I get to finally see how certain individuals see me come up in the process, because I've seen her day one coming in the studio and writing songs, throwing away songs, writing another song, throwing away songs. And songs is hard. And I understood that process, though, wanting to be great. Even when people saying this is classic record, she was like, no, I'm going to write another one. And I understood that. I've seen it. So to see it now magnified, it's like, she always had it, man. She always had it. And I'm just honored to be next to a talent.
Yeah, you've both worked really hard to be here in this moment. And on Heart Part 6 is really...
He remind me of LeBron James, and when he was like, he loves being around talent. One thing I've noticed about LeBron, he loves talent. He loves being around a player that has talent. He don't have time to be teaching you shit. So I like that answer. Y'all, I don't want to pause too much, because I just want to let this play, because I just love everything he's saying right now. So let's continue.
Next to a talent.
Yeah, you've both worked really hard to be here in this moment. And on Heart Part 6 is really amazing to hear you detail that journey for old and new fans,
I love that song, Heart Part 6.
Now launching your own agency, PG Lang. So performing at the Super Bowl halftime show is very much us as fans getting to celebrate you and this beautiful musical legacy, but also now you're stepping out as an entrepreneur. What has it been like to build your own business and to also showcase some of that creativity from your agency on this platform?
Oh man, I love the process. Shout out to PG Lane. Make some noise with PG Lane. That's my team, man. It's
shout out to SZA too, man. Like, I can't wait for that tour.
30
Can't wait for the Super Bowl.
Incredible individuals, 5 extraordinary executives that work day in, day out to make sure we are doing something that will long live the culture. From a music standpoint, from a creative standpoint, fashion, film, books, day in, day out of just being around like-minded individuals that have different perspectives outside of just music.
There's a great quote that I always try to follow and you apply, especially the older that I get and the more that I really think about, like, what is the legacy and impact that you want to leave. And there's a difference between making a hit and making a classic. And true art doesn't have a time limit. True art is truly timeless. And that's always a good measure of a classic and of great higher art, how it lives on over the years. And I love that intention. It just feels like there's such purpose on that mission and just staying locked in on that and really trying to create timeless art. And for him, it's all levels. It's the visuals. It's the amazing music videos that we witness. It's the fashion. It's everything. It's a holistic approach to it all, man. Man is giving just such game and dimes right now.
That have...
Camera's going to die. I'm going to cut it out and come back. Keep it running.
From perspectives outside of just music. So through that process, it was a challenge for me. But even more a process of me enjoying, different ideas and different backgrounds and how to look at things. I love it. Being on calls and, formulating business ideas and ventures outside of my usual norm, it challenges me. And I can't wait to see what happens next. I know it's going to happen next. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think for the audience, too, and anybody...
That confidence comes through again. He had moments where he's being humble, he's showing love to SZA, but at the same time, it's not arrogance, right? It's not a cockiness. It's a composed, patient, grounded confidence. I know what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the space.
Watching around the world, the PG Lang thing is I think people see you as an artist and someone who...
I love how Kenny always show love to his people. He don't try to take... It's not always about him. He shared his wins. You know what I mean? So he's not selfish. He's very humble. And he looked like a person that loves to give. He loves to he just loves to provide and love to give. So I can see that in him. And the way he talks, I just see that.
Dave and shout out to the whole PG Lang team, but y'all as friends that came up together, you in the edits. Like, what we're gonna see on Sunday is a PG Lang production.
Yes, that's all PG Lang. That is us sitting day in, day out, from the edits, the production, the stage design, the music, the sound tech.
Let's go.
It's everything across the board, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of creative individuals. I can't sit here and say it's all me, because these are people that are just as passionate and want to see us win, but also want to put out something that lives a long, long time. And with Dave's creative mind, it's just, he's insane, man. That dude is like Basquiat in so many different fashions. You can clearly pick his brain about anything, and he'll give you an answer right down the middle to help you decide for yourself. So that's something I can always appreciate.
Yeah, it's
Great artists are surrounded by great teams and people
True.
who can help them fulfill that vision, because there's often so many different moving pieces to that. And I've been around some great artists. I've had that privilege to watch some of their teams work and to see that firsthand.
With all of your powers combined, y'all are
Teams work and to see that firsthand.
with all of your powers combined, y'all are really diabolical. Like when you roll out the videos, all the visuals for GNX, just the way you all move strategically together, it is inspiring beyond the music. You know, just thinking about how to approach life and art in a holistic way. And so when it came down,
Bro, it's food for the soul. I keep saying.
to planning for this Super Bowl now, you know, you tease on the album coming up to New Orleans, but trying to figure out how to pay tribute to the classics in your catalog with this new music in like a 13-minute set list.
Yeah, it's wild. Miss Morale's like an hour and 30-minute tour, so it's like you gotta smack the shit down all the way in 13 minutes.
Man.
It's kind of wild and it's interesting because it lets you know kind of where you at and your perspective on how you think about catalog and the music. For me, I love being present. I love being present, man. It's my favorite. It's very hard for me to live in the past. Very hard. I respect the past wholeheartedly, but being in the now and being just locked into how I feel and the energy I have now, that's the LA energy for me. That's something that I want to carry over to New Orleans and for the world to see. This is me. This is Kendrick Lamar, 37 years old, and I still feel like I'm elevating. I'm still on the journey.
You are.
You know? And I want that energy to ooze out into the televisions and to the people that's in that building.
And it will.
Well,
Yo, that's so interesting. Just that statement that I want to be present. I can't live in the past. And I just said and mentioned like this past weekend, right? I was on set with the homie Ren, and I think he's an amazing artist. And I've had the opportunity to be in some rooms and to be backstages with some incredible artists and people that who I really respect and think that they create timeless art, right? And one thing I will say is a common denominator I've noticed among some of the people I've been around, some of the great artists that I've seen, is that presence, is that they don't sit there and bask in the glory of accolades. They don't sit there and bask in the past, but they also
True.
don't let the past like overcome them with mistakes and things. Like they're always focused on being present in the moment and creating the best art that they can in that moment in time. And then once they do that, they're on to the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. And they have that drive and they have that vision, but they're always grounded and centered throughout that because they know the destination at the same time, but they're living in the here and now. That presence is key. It's a great word.
that the connection between Black culture and New Orleans and how important and shaping our ancestors were in this town, music, jazz, all that. You always put our culture and Black culture at the forefront of your brand, your music. From the South for new opportunities.
Man, what?
There's a big connection between LA and the South. So when you say you
Even in DC too. Like a lot of our slang in DC, like even the accent, DC too. Like a lot of our slang in DC, like even the accent, there's that southern influence that falls into it. Always happens.
walked into New Orleans with that LA etiquette and all of that, I don't know if people really grasp that, but you got to be feeling that energy.
That's a bar.
Like when you
It's a bar.
are out ready on Sunday to do your thing.
That's a bar. It's crazy,
Bar's gotta catch a ball.
bro. Out of all my friends, LA, us growing up, all our grandparents either from Louisiana, Texas, Chicago, like period. So our dialect and how we talk, it gauges from like the South and like the Bay Area. So like going to the store, we say finna. I'm finna go to the store. Like that's some South shit, you know what I'm saying? That's not no LA, right? So that energy right there, and making that correlation, it means a lot to me for people to understand that. And the culture and just being Black, I can't help that, man. It's just not something that I think about or even try to like go. I'm Black. Shit, it's just go. It's not on you. Yeah, it's gonna come out every time. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't downplay it. I'm at a point in my life I can't necessarily fake the funk for nothing. And I've always had an essence.
Well, you should never have to sugarcoat it. You shouldn't have to water it down. And I just wonder through the years, because obviously we know how important his black identity is and how that comes out. And then those racial issues within his music. But he's in an industry in the past, and I feel like there's definitely been pressures at times. Like, yo, can you limit this? Can you, like, we're not going to stop you from the message. But I feel like that answer right there when he's like, I can't sugarcoat it. I feel like there's some of that as well within the music industry, but also, just what he encounters as a black man in America. Like,
I can't necessarily fake the funk for nothing. And I've always had an essence of that, but, you have kids and shit. It's just like, I have to be who I am authentically. And if, the world can't accept that, then so be it. But who rocking with it, I'm going to put it all the way out there, whether it's in private or whether it's on the main stage.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people and a lot of artists stand in themselves as authentically as you have. And I think one of the questions we've all been wrestling with over the past few months, watching you and the way you've moved, is really, what is the role of an artist? And I think lots of people have very different definitions, but young Kendrick, again, back to overly dedicated and Section 80 mixtape Kendrick, and GNX Kendrick, Superbowl Grammys Kendrick, has your idea of what the role of an artist is, you as an artist, has that ever changed?
I don't think I knew exactly what my role was early on. I had maybe clues of it, but now today I can truly say it's to express myself and express things that people can necessarily say on the daily, and for them to actually relate to. And come from the most vulnerable place where people can actually feel it. I think that is, for me, that's the role for me as an artist. I don't give a fuck what place it come from. I could be the most angry person on the record. You gonna feel that shit that day if you woke up and you felt that. You want to smile, you gonna feel it, because I'm gonna make sure I'm present that particular time in the studio, in the booth.
So true.
I feel happy, and I feel energized, and I feel, if I feel frustrated, you gonna feel it. And to carry that as an inspiration for people that's listening that may not have a voice, that, I've grew up with cats, still to this day can't have a conversation. The most meanest, aggressive individuals, but they can't even look you in the eye and express themselves the way they want to. So they resort to other things. And when I think about that, and I know that I have the tools necessary to communicate myself properly and effectively, I got to do it for them. I got to make records like Reincarnated. I got to make records like Man in the Garden. I have to, because they feel that way, but they cannot project it. And when they hear somebody
he does it,
giving them,
and that's one of the things he does so well, how he projects and how people receive and how people feel. So I love that.
speak more freely and be open, because again, I come from the same place they come from.
I want it all. And I like I said, like, it really feels like Kendrick nourishes your soul. And the thing I've always loved about rap is that it's a voice for those who often don't have one. And Kendrick has just articulated that so beautifully, man.
Well, Kendrick, we might not see you outside again soon after Super Bowl. I know, of course, you have the GNX tour. Listen, I know you also don't love doing interviews, but we are grateful. We're so grateful for all the music and the moments that you've given us over 15 years. And in the last year, your presence and your focus, it is noted. So thank you. We really appreciate it. Thanks for taking our questions.
Authenticity. That's what he reflects and represents through his art.
Thank you for fighting for hip hop.
It is really appreciated.
Thank you for fighting for hip hop.
We do have some questions from our kid report.
I got one.
I'm gonna stop it right here, guys. Go ahead and check out the rest of the video on Knox Hill. Again, shout out to Knox Hill. Love the reaction. And you can also check out the interview on Apple Music as well. Great interview. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. And let's continue to vibe with the latest news that we have going on regarding music. So, and stay tuned to the Super Bowl performance for Kendrick Lamar. I can't wait. and I'll have a video up on that for sure. So thanks, guys. Later.